As part of the promotion of my business, I regularly attend business networking events, and I've met all sorts of people. And one of the people I'm most privileged to have met is my friend Mark. 10 years ago, he went through a traumatic, life-changing event, and I've asked him to share the story about that, and also the inspirational story of the last 12 months.
So I met Glo on a lad's holiday. It was back in 1995. Four of us travelled through Jersey, which is not too much to travel through. But I met her one evening. She was a waitress in a restaurant, and we were giving her a bit of stick, but she was giving us back even more. So we made the connection. We went out the following week, and we were together thereafter. So I did move to Jersey for a while. So we spent a little time there, and then she came back with me to Bristol about 10-15 months later. So we were together in total for 12 years. So we were in Australia. It was just after New Year's Eve, but it's actually New Year's Day. She woke up with a headache. Nothing particularly unusual in that. We'd had a big night the night before. Thought she was just hungover. The headaches persisted. We ended up going to the General Hospital in Sydney, and they also thought she'd overdone it. And we'd also flown a lot, so they thought it could be a bit of dehydration going on. And then it was only when we got back to the UK after travelling for 2 months that I paid for an MRI scan, and that's when we found out exactly what the extent of her injuries were. She had a thing called an AVM, which it stands for arteriovenous malformation. In simple terms, that is a cluster of abnormal blood vessels on the brain, and it basically leads to brain hemorrhages. It was a 15-hour operation, and what I did, I sat with her in the morning off the operation, and then I went to work, and I went home, and I went back to work, and I went back home again. So I did everything I could to keep myself busy, and 15 hours later got a call from the surgeon to say that things hadn't quite gone according to plan, and that she'd actually had a hemorrhage during the operation. But they thought at that point everything was going to be okay. It was a couple of days later when I got the call at 4 a.m. and they told me she had this massive heart attack, and I was to get in, and unfortunately the result was that she passed away. It changed the course of my life. So I was on course for a very happy life, and then suddenly it felt like somebody had completely taken a rug from under me, and I almost had to start again, make up my life again. My dad sat me down the day after she died. We were all sat in my house, and it was one of those rare moments between me and my dad when he was sort of sitting me down with some real advice. And he said, whatever you do, don't make any decisions for the next year, which of course I completely ignored. Lost thousands of pounds on a deposit trying to buy something in Spain. At the time I was working in the building trade, and I decided that I'd fancied a kitchen diner. So I went home from work one Friday night, took a lump hammer out of the garage, took the wall out, went to bed, didn't think too much of it, and then I came down the next morning and realised I'd taken the supporting wall of the house out. So it was all these things that were going on. I wasn't quite with it. 10 years later, I should have just listened to my dad. That would have been the soundest advice. Very recently raised an awful lot of money in Gloria's memory, which I'm incredibly proud of. A group of us walked from Plymouth Argyle Football Club to Bristol Rovers over a course of 5 days. That's a marathon a day. And we raised £10,000 in the 1 week with sponsorship from that. What I know now is that I'm a much stronger person than I ever really thought I was. So I'm quite proud that I've managed to stay on this mortal planet for the last 10 years, based on the fact it's been incredibly tough. And what I've learnt is who my real friends are. It's amazing, because pretty much everybody in my life now who are friends with me weren't there 10 years ago. So there's a whole new set of people, a whole new set of friends that have really rallied me. So where am I now? Living in Downend. Have a daughter, 4-year-old daughter, called Neve, who is the say my love of my life. Sometimes she's the bane of my life, but she's incredibly challenging in a really good way. But yeah, no, life's good. Life's good again, and I'm just looking forward to moving forward in my life and not forgetting the past, just learning from the past and using that in the right ways moving forward.